For this presentation, I'm going to be taking a look at the film A Woman Under the Influence from 1974, directed by independent cinema legend John Cassavetes. I chose this film because I love the era of the 1970s and the new Hollywood era in particular. It provided cinema with some of its most interesting, creative, and thought-provoking stories. And John Cassavetes, as an actor, I first learned about through one of my favorite films, Rosemary's Baby, and it's been really interesting to take a look at his very diverse filmography as an actor and as a director. So here's a little bit of background about Cassavetes, who is known as the godfather of independent cinema. His first feature, Shadows, in 1959, is considered the first American work of independent cinema. And he used his earnings as an actor to fund his directorial projects. And also he established his own production and distribution company called Faces International Pictures. And all of his directorial efforts were made outside of the studio system. So this film was, like I said, released in 1974, starring Gena Rowlands, which is Cassavetes' wife, and also frequent collaborator. There's also Peter Falk, who was starring in the popular show Columbo at the time, and who's also known for his frequent collaborations with Cassavetes. This film was self-financed. Both Gena Rowlands and John Cassavetes, as well as Peter Falk and his wife, totally self-financed the film, and the budget was just over $1 million. For its 2-hour and 35-minute runtime, it was nominated for Best Actress for Gena Rowlands and Best Director, John Cassavetes. This film was shot on location in Los Angeles near Hollywood Boulevard, and its real-life setting and realistic feel contributes to the all-around sense of realism. It also is considered one of Hollywood's or cinema's early feminist work because it details the mental health struggles of a mother who is also a housewife and a wife and struggling in those roles. So it can be considered a melodrama and a family drama as well. And Cassavetes' prevailing principle while making this film and his many others was art as an extension of real life. Because of their limited budget constraints, it was a motley crew of professionals working on this film. Cassavetes was the first filmmaker in residence for the American Film Institute Center for Advanced Film Studies. Therefore, he had students in his program helping on this production. Rowlands did her own hair and makeup. There was only one set of costumes, and it really contributes to this real-life feel in the movie. Cassavetes was inspired to write the screenplay due to his wife Rowlands wanting to do a play about the struggles facing women during this time. Once he wrote the screenplay, Rowlands thought that it would be too taxing to do 8 performances a week because we're talking about really emotional material, and so Cassavetes decided to adapt this for the screen. The film is considered an early feminist work, not only because we see the journey of protagonist Mabel through her undeniably erratic behavior, her compromised mental state, and we see her family make the difficult decision to have her institutionalized. We then see Peter Falk's character struggle as a temporary single father, raising and helping to take care of their 3 children. And then the movie jumps forward 6 months and we see protagonist Mabel returning home and dealing with the repercussions of her institutionalized journey. So not only for these reasons is it considered a feminist work, but this movie was right on the heels of the broader social context of women's lib. And it really takes a look at the downfall of traditional gender roles, how perhaps through one analysis of the film, you can see how an underlying mental illness is brought forth by a loss of identity. What happens when a housewife's roles get stripped from her? Her kids don't need her anymore. Her husband is more preoccupied with work than he is with their relationship. And it's a really interesting look at how one's psyche could take a toll because of these change in gender roles. This film totally exemplifies an independent feature because it was the first time in history when a motion picture that was an independent film was distributed without the use of a nationwide system of sub-distributors. Cassavetes and his associate, who was a college student, they both self-distributed the film, went around to theaters, hoping to have it run in the theaters, and Peter Falk and Cassavetes, they would go to college campuses and screen the film and then do like a Q&A session afterwards to try to promote the film. And so it was a very grassroots project. The film finally began to make headway in the public consciousness through its inclusion in the New York Film Festival, and that screening allowed critics to hear of the film and be made aware of it. And then it started gaining mainstream attention a little bit further when actor Richard Dreyfuss commented about the film on a popular talk show. He said the emotional intensity made him have a true physical reaction, made him vomit, and because of this talk show appearance, it seemed like the public was curious about the movie. What made Richard Dreyfuss throw up? It's kind of interesting to learn the ways in which this film garnered a cult following, but it also is really emblematic of this cult and independent film spirit through its transgressive subject matter. There is the undercurrent of alcoholism, really some sparse instances of spousal abuse, as well as the storyline of mental illness pervading the narrative. And the underrepresented types of blue-collar characters and women in the forefront of the story really make it transgressive as well. The reoccurring troupe of actors that were Cassavetes' favorites really mimicked this theater quality, as well as their improvisations with the written screenplay. They rehearsed the material and tweaked it if need be. And because this film really emphasized performance above all, it really gave this theater-like quality as well. This film really mimics the cinema verite documentary style that was emerging around this time or in a decade prior. The camera work is very spontaneous. Cassavetes insisted that there was no camera blocking, so it would just naturally and organically follow around action, and therefore there's this unpolished quality to the shots. Actors would sometimes get in the way of the lens, or there would be this really close-up focus on the actors that would highlight their performance and really gave this fly-in-the-wall, naturalistic feel. The format of the story is transgressive in the way that there is no real formal plot or action besides just like watching this family deal with the fallout of Mabel's mental illness and the ramifications it has on the family. Again, it highlights the performances, the cinematography, and just the general feel of the movie overall through the use of long takes and extended sequences. And its unceremonious editing style abruptly cuts from one scene to the next, which is a little bit of a jarring feel, but also adds to its creativity and unpredictability, which makes it really engaging. While the emotional turmoil and conflicts between family members make it a difficult watch, this film is really just a treat. Jenna Rollins in particular, it has one of the most raw, emotional, and honest performances I've ever seen. She is exemplary, and the film's overall unconventional structure makes it really feel like a breath of fresh air, and you feel totally immersed in the lives of these characters, even if the bloated runtime does make it a little bit difficult to watch or a little bit heavy at times. It really pulls no punches, and it's really quite a spectacle. Just briefly reiterating the qualities in which Woman Under the Influence exemplifies both independent and cult cinema. Its independent features are highlighted through its unconventional mode of production and distribution, and it was made completely outside of the Hollywood system, self-funded, self-distributed, all that, and rebelled against conventional storytelling methods based on structure and aesthetic choices. It follows along with cult cinema because of the transgressive elements of the story as well as the limited distribution and availability, really allowing for a fandom to arise that really flocked to select screenings of the film when they were made available over the years. And Cassavetes himself has become a favorite among cinephiles, especially for his contributions to independent cinema. So thank you very much for listening. Here is a list of my references. I hope if you are not familiar with this movie that this presentation inspired you to watch this really incredible example of independent and cult cinema. So thanks for listening. Take care.